I saw Michael Buckley yesterday, Constitution Hill's owner, and we had a chat and wondered on what it's like owning Constitution Hill and then having to walk around for the next 3 days with everybody telling you what to do. So I thought on the way home last night, well, why don't we have a chat on the programme tomorrow morning? So in shamelessly exploitative fashion, Michael, good morning.
This is balanced programming, isn't it? Where you talk to all the winners and then you get me on just to balance things up. Good morning.
Good morning. How is Constitution Hill, first of all?
Well, I haven't heard much about him for the last couple of days, but somehow or another we got hold of a photograph of him from the stables yesterday, and he certainly looked fine. He was doing what he enjoys doing best, which is eating lots of carrots. Mm-hmm. He's a sort of carrot fiend. I think he'd eat a sack of them every day if he could, or if he was given them, he would anyway. So he was a bit battered and bruised, I think, on Friday. Got a bit of a sore back, but hopefully a few days of rest and physio, and he'll be fine. I think he takes all this stuff better than his owner, and probably his trainer as well.
Despair again. We're watching him just launch himself, but not quite getting the elevation or quite the same level of extraordinary elasticity that we saw when he was taking those kind of risks earlier on. Has a sort of definitive theory come to light amongst you all as to why this has happened the last twice?
No, I think that the only theory that you can sort of hang your hat on is that I think the first of these sort of launch things where he decided that he really was a reincarnation of the mythical Pegasus took place in the last of the champion hurdle when he won, where he took off an absurd distance away, and perhaps we were looking back on it, and I haven't said this to Nicky, but I think, looking back, perhaps we were a bit complacent with all the theories that there was the sun in the eyes and the positioning of that hurdle, and it happened to Annie Power, and maybe with the lower sun at that time of day, they get a bit blinded. I don't know. Anyway, we just sort of happy to win the race inevitably, and so didn't give it much thought. And then he's had his time off, so there was plenty of time to forget how he'd become what he then was, and it's become a bit of he's developed a habit of throwing in these extraordinary leaps, which he got away with. I mean, he did it in the fourth hurdle of the Christmas hurdle on Boxing Day, last Christmas. I mean, I've got a film from the overhead of that actually a pal of mine in Australia sent me. And so there's a lead horse, which I suppose was Burdett Road. Then there was a second horse, I'm afraid I can't remember his name, who took off half a length behind him. And he took off at the same time, another half a length behind the second horse, and got away with it. And I think it's become a bit of a habit that he thinks he can do this stuff, or maybe he just doesn't think. He's a horse with so much. I mean, I would say this, wouldn't I? Because I love him and I own him, but he's really got too much talent for his own good, because he can do stuff that other horses don't do, and he's been doing this a bit, and I suppose I don't know. I mean, there's so many theories, Nick. Everybody's got a theory. I bumped into Nicky on Friday evening, or maybe it was even Saturday morning, and he had 20 minutes from somebody quite well known in the jump scene with yet another theory, and then another one came up in the middle of yesterday. But he seems physically fine all the time. He's obviously very precious, so he gets checked over left, right, and centre by vets and physios and everything. There doesn't seem to be. I mean, yesterday's theory was perhaps he's a bit sore in front, but he's never lame. Doesn't give any sign of being that way. Maybe if he was sore, he would find it. I don't know. It would affect his jumping. But I mean, I think every theory under the sun has been offered to somebody who's involved with the horse. And obviously, dozens of people have said we should go novice chasing.
Dozens of people have said you should go chasing.
Oh God, yeah. People you do, and we talked about it after his novice year.
Yeah.
And shall we go chasing? Shall we stay hurdling? And if we had anything that had led us to believe that he could stay 3.25 miles, we would have gone chasing.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt he jumped fences. But why give up having the best hurdler if you can't have the best chaser? And for us, I've been lucky enough to win the champion chase. And I've no disrespect for that race and so forth, but I'd rather have had what might be the best hurdler around, might have been one of the best hurdlers there's ever been. Maybe he still is. He's not doing his record much good.
Michael, what would you like to do with him? Nicky's talked about going to Punchestown. What would you like to do with him? What would be on your wish list now?
Well, my wish list it starts with giving Henderson and de Boinville a bit of a break. Nico's taken the most terrible bashing. I gather that when he went out to ride John Bon, the sort of invective and unpleasantness of the comments thrown at him over the rails as he walked out of the course were pretty bad. I mean, that was somebody who was there listening to them, who's part of the racing team, told me, and he doesn't deserve it. He's a cracking guy, he's a great rider, and he really doesn't deserve it. And it's not as if this horse is falling because he's made any mistakes. He just decides to sort of jump out of his hands. And, people who've ridden these horses and know how strong they can be, if a horse decides to do something, you're pretty powerless to stop it at that stage.
Yeah.
Now, maybe what he should be doing is firing the horse in more and asking him more. I just don't know. But I'd like them to be given a break here. That's my first wish. Secondly,
go on.
I think he will go to Punchestown if he's well. Why not? I mean, what else are we going to do? He doesn't finish the races. I mean, and Nico, who perhaps was fairly careful with him at Aintree and nursed him around the place a wee bit, and he happened to get caught in a bit of a hole in the pocket there. So, but when you're coming down to the last jumps in these races, you can't muck about. I mean, sure, you can sort of try and pull the horse up and fiddle over and stuff and lose the race. What's the point of that? You've just got to put your foot down and go for it. And that's what he did. And
so Punchestown next.
Sorry?
So Punchestown next, and after that?
Well, I mean, if the horse is fine, I mean, first of all, if he's physically fine, I mean, structurally, which I think he will be, and if he seems in good form, I think we'll, go to Punchestown.
Am I allowed to tease you with the Royal Ascot line again?
Well, it's always played around in the back of my head that it would be fun to go have a run in the Gold Cup. I mean, what the hell? He quite possibly will be found out that he doesn't stay the Gold Cup distance. I mean, who knows? He's got so much speed, but it would be fun. I think he's a horse that he's so much more mature now, and certainly a couple of years ago, you'd never have thought of running in all these races with him, because whilst he was winning his races so easily, it took so much out of him. Now it doesn't. He takes the racing so much better because he's that much more mature. So, and also we found out that spending too long at grass isn't much good, because he gets so gross and he's so greedy that it's hell to get the weight off. So
a flat campaign's not completely out of the question.
Well, maybe a dart at it. I don't know about a campaign. Then reminds me of Nicky's godfather, Montgomery, that will be at it all year long. But
so maybe one carefully directed shot then.
Maybe. Well, he's not handicapped, so you can't think about things like the Melbourne Cup and so forth because he wouldn't get in. Never run on the flat. So I don't. Let's just see how we go. I mean, it would be fun. It would be curious for people. It would be a novelty. It would give me a runner at Royal Ascot, which otherwise I probably won't have. And give me another opportunity to talk to you. So why not?
Always, Michael.
But we'll see how we go.
Appreciate you being generous and philosophical. Thanks so much.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.